Amid a severe economic crisis where access to essential goods has been a constant struggle, Russia has made a game-changing move that Washington never anticipated. Russian President Vladimir Putin has stepped in to break the economic blockade on Cuba by supplying the island with critical exports. For years, Cuban markets have faced extreme shortages, with basic necessities like dairy and meat becoming luxuries. However, the arrival of Russian goods marks a pivotal turning point. Supermarket shelves, once barren, are now being restocked, bringing immediate relief to millions who have endured years of economic hardship. But this development is more than just a trade deal. It's a bold act of international defiance, a direct response to the U.S.-imposed economic restrictions that have stifled Cuba's growth for decades. By forging a stronger economic alliance with Russia, Havana is demonstrating that alternative paths to survival exist, even amid intense geopolitical pressure. A key development in this shift was Cuba's approval of Russia's sanitary control system, a crucial step allowing Russian companies to export food and essential goods without the bureaucratic hurdles that once blocked such transactions. What once seemed like an insurmountable barrier has now become a lifeline for the Cuban economy. This partnership extends beyond simple trade. It symbolizes resilience and showcases what smaller nations can achieve when they unite against economic adversity. Cuba's strengthened ties with Russia offer a roadmap for other Caribbean and Latin American nations seeking to bypass Western-imposed sanctions. A new economic strategy for Cuba. Cuba is not stopping with Russia. The Cuban government has intensified efforts to diversify its trade partnerships, ensuring a more stable and independent supply of essential goods. This shift is a direct response to the 2021 protests, when thousands of frustrated citizens took to the streets demanding economic relief. Since then, Havana has prioritized securing food, medicine, and basic products, no longer solely relying on Western-controlled markets. Thanks to strategic trade agreements, Cuba is now better positioned to reduce its dependency on the U.S. and other Western nations. With Russia as a key partner, the island is not only ensuring its survival but also challenging a global economic system that has long marginalized smaller nations. This is more than just trade, it's a statement that Cuba refuses to be isolated. Cuba's entry into BRICS, a milestone. Cuba's recent entry into the BRICS bloc as an associate member represents a significant milestone in its economic and geopolitical strategy. This move strengthens Cuba's global standing and creates vast opportunities for economic growth, trade, and financial stability. By joining this influential coalition, which includes powerhouse economies like China, Brazil, South Africa, and Russia, Cuba is positioning itself within a supportive network that could counterbalance the long-standing effects of the U.S. embargo. For decades, Cuba has faced economic restrictions imposed by Western financial institutions, limiting its access to international markets, trade partnerships, and investment opportunities. However, with BRICS membership, Cuba now has the potential to break free from these constraints and build a more sustainable, self-sufficient economic future. Access to new markets and financial support. One of the most immediate benefits of joining BRICS is Cuba's access to new markets. The economic strength of BRICS nations provides a vast platform for Cuba to diversify its exports and reduce dependence on a limited number of trading partners. This diversification is critical for ensuring economic resilience. Moreover, BRICS offers access to financing and investments that can be channeled into critical sectors such as infrastructure, healthcare, and industry. Historically, Cuba has struggled to secure foreign investment due to international sanctions. However, within BRICS, Cuba can benefit from alternative financial institutions like the New Development Bank, which supports emerging economies without the stringent conditions imposed by Western banks, and the International Monetary Fund. Investment in Cuba's infrastructure, roads, energy grids, telecommunications, has been a crucial limitation to its development. With BRICS support, the nation can undertake much-needed modernization projects, improving domestic capabilities and enhancing competitiveness in global trade. Reducing dependence on the U.S. dollar. Another major advantage of BRICS membership is Cuba's ability to reduce its dependence on the U.S. dollar. The global economy is shifting toward de-dollarization, with BRICS nations leading efforts to conduct trade in local currencies. For Cuba, which has suffered under decades of sanctions restricting access to dollar-based financial transactions, this shift offers greater economic autonomy. Conducting trade in currencies such as the Chinese yuan, Russian ruble, or even a potential BRICS common currency would provide Cuba with much-needed flexibility in its international dealings. At a time when global economic tensions are rising, Cuba's alignment with BRICS strengthens its position in the evolving multipolar world, transforming the lives of Cubans. While these macroeconomic changes are crucial, their true impact lies in the daily lives of the Cuban people. For decades, Cuba has faced chronic shortages of essential goods due to trade restrictions and supply chain difficulties. Through agreements with BRICS nations, a more stable and consistent flow of essential products is expected. Countries like Russia, China, and Brazil can serve as reliable suppliers, ensuring that Cuba has access to the goods it needs without the constraints imposed by international embargoes. This could significantly improve the quality of life for Cubans, with better access to healthcare supplies, food security, and industrial resources to support domestic manufacturing. A political and economic shift. Cuba's integration into BRICS is not just an economic decision, it's a strategic political move signaling a shift in global alliances. For decades, the global economic order has been dominated by Western financial institutions and trade networks that often impose restrictive policies on emerging nations. By aligning with BRICS, Cuba is participating in the creation of an alternative economic system, one that prioritizes cooperation among developing nations over dependency on Western powers. This move also serves as an inspiration for other Latin American countries facing similar economic and political pressures. By demonstrating that alternatives exist outside of traditional Western-led financial systems, Cuba is paving the way for a more balanced global economy. Conclusion: a step toward a more equitable global economy. At its core, Cuba's integration into BRICS is a bold step toward creating a more equitable international community. In a world where economic policies are often dictated by a few dominant powers, the rise of alternative alliances offers hope for nations seeking economic freedom and stability. Through strategic trade agreements, financial independence from the US dollar, and strengthened ties with emerging economies, Cuba is working toward a future free from external economic pressures. More importantly, this move signals a shift in global power dynamics, where small and developing nations can find support outside traditional Western institutions. Cuba's journey with BRICS will undoubtedly face challenges, but it represents a significant shift in the country's economic trajectory. If successful, this alliance could serve as a blueprint for other nations seeking to reclaim their economic sovereignty and build a more balanced global financial system, one that prioritizes cooperation, development, and shared prosperity. That's all for today. Thank you for staying with us.